Hey guys, welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 11. Today we got a pre-packed show. We'll start off with some opening day success for the Cardinals and opening day weekend overall for the baseball. We've also got some NBA playoff talk finally. Once again, a little bit of NFL, kind of some sad news in the NFL, some Masters talk as well. So golf, #golf. Um, we'll address UNC's loss to Kansas in the national title game in the Final Four. A little bit Mizzou talk, and as well as some segments, including Tough Scene of the Week and Say Hello and Kiss It Goodbye. So let's get on into it.
So, welcome back once again to the Show Me Show podcast. I am Luke Newhouse with co-host
Cam Milheiser.
And I think we're going to start off with opening day because it's back. Baseball is back after I thought we might not be for a very long time. It's back. We're a few games into the season. Opening day was on Thursday for the Cardinals and for opening day in general for baseball. Obviously, the Cardinals one is always special. You have all the Hall of Famers come back right around the field in their cars.
The Clydesdales.
Yep. Clydesdales, obviously. That's so cool to see them. That's truly the beginning of Cardinals baseball every single year, and I love it. This year especially because usually we start off on the road. Like, that's what our opening day is. But this year, due to the lockout and being postponed a week, so we start out at home.
Yeah, we were supposed to start out on the road.
We're supposed to start out in Pittsburgh, but
also pretty dreary day for opening day. I mean,
oh yeah,
cold as heck.
Temperatures
windy,
like 45 degrees, rainy, windy,
no
awful.
sun in sight.
And people paid $200 for those tickets.
Yeah, but they won, and it's opening day.
They had a great game.
So.
Won 9-0. Wainwright pitched 6 shutout innings. The offense stayed hot. Tyler O'Neill had a great day. Nolan Arenado had a good day too. Paul Goldschmidt walked 4 times. Very Yasmani Grandal-esque. So he's continuing that from last year.
King.
Yes. He also had a single, so he was on base 5 times. O'Neill, 5 RBIs, including a 3-run homer. He was the first Cardinal home run of the year. I think that was a pretty popular pick, I would assume. But Nolan Arenado also had a home run. He also had a home run today, so he's got 2 home runs on the year. He also has 7 RBIs total on the year throughout this weekend. Cardinals won their first 2 games on Thursday and Saturday.
Both offensive explosions, really.
Yeah, and pitching masterpieces, too. I mean, we had a shutout, and then yesterday we gave up 2 runs. 2 or 3 runs, I think. So, today, not so much.
As Gamble ropes a double.
Top of the 8th. It's not looking good right now for us. Down 8-4. Not a pitching masterpiece from Steven Matz at all. Yes, his first 2 innings were great. Faced 7 batters, pretty much, set them up or stand them up, send them down. That kind of innings for him, and then in the 3rd inning, it just exploded. And the first 2 batters of the 4th inning reached, and he got pulled after that, obviously.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about these first, this is the 3rd game, is that plenty of hits. It kind of keeps you entertained a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not like the pitching just hasn't been very great. Obviously, today for the Cardinals it hasn't been great, but it wasn't very good the first 2 games for the Pirates. So lots of offense, and I think that's a little bit entertaining, especially to start the year, to kind of grab your attention, get set for a full season of ball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was so excited to watch Cardinals baseball this year, and especially after the opening day win where Albert came in. He was in the starting lineup, even though he went 0-for-5, but he was still in there. He got
reached base twice, I think. On airs,
so. I believe. On air. That could be. I had practice for some of it, so I didn't get to watch the whole game, but I watched the pregame ceremonies, and it was cool to see that Albert, Wainwright, and Yadi all got special introductions. Obviously, Albert and Yadi announced that this is their last season, so they're going out kind of Coach K-esque, with the retirement tour here. And Wainwright has not yet announced it, but it's believed that he's going to retire after this year. But it's not official yet, so I don't call anything official. But they kind of got their own special announcement, even though Wainwright and Yachty, usually they're in like the bullpen warming up, getting ready for the game, but they held them out in the dugout. They announced them first, how many Gold Gloves, All-Star appearances, and all that. So, and then Albert got to do that too, obviously. So that was pretty cool. It was just so cool to see Albert Pujols back in the Cardinals uniform. I mean, truly, because I went to the first game back when he was with the Angels and he came back to St. Louis for the first time. I was at that game, and that was so cool. But it's different because now you can root for him.
Mhm.
It's like after that.
Well, I still rooted for him when he was playing against the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, but
and so was the whole stadium, as you could see when he hit the home run.
But that was also in a game when we were up like 6-0.
Yeah,
the game that I went to, it was fairly close the whole time. And in his first at bat, he came up with like 2 people on base or something. And so obviously, we gave him the standing ovation, and that was really, really cool, really sick. But I remember because he came up with the 2 people on, and after he gave him the standing ovation, somebody was just like, strike his ass out. I was like, true, let's just strike him out here, because that's exactly what, you were rooting against him. You're rooting for the Cardinals to win the game, obviously. And if you got a base hit there, it'd probably give up a run. But he didn't. I think he popped out or something. But it's just so cool because now you can give him the standing ovation and if he does good, your team's also doing good. So it's different, and it's better this way too.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the standing ovation when he came back. Unreal. I mean, almost tear-jerking how, just awesome the crowd was and how, he was just soaking it all in. That was awesome. I remember.
Yeah, I remember because we went to, kind of the pregame stuff too, to watch him take batting practice, even though he didn't take batting practice, I don't think. Or at least he was done before we got in there. But they were, playing throwback videos, I guess, highlight videos of Albert on the Jumbotron, the entire warm-ups. So if you look down on him, he was getting teary-eyed because of that too. And I remember the first time he walked out of the dugout, to go, play catch or something, and the people around the Angels dugout just exploded up. Oh, what? Wow.
They probably could have got him too at third here. You missed
terrible play by the Cardinals. This game's falling apart here on Sunday afternoon, but it is what it is.
Yep.
So yeah, that experience was so cool, but this was just different. Seeing him in that Cardinals home white uniform, so cool. It just feels right. He's back now. That's all that matters. That hit the runner?
No, it just took a bad bounce.
Oh. Say because Arenado didn't even move on that. But speaking of Arenado, 2 home runs through 3 games, 7 RBIs. Obviously, the third game isn't over yet, but he's having a great start to the year. Yesterday, he went 4 for 4. He had multiple doubles, and it just seemed like he carried the team the whole afternoon yesterday. So very cool to see him get going. But opening days around the league kind of got going. Obviously, the Yankees and Red Sox starting off the years playing each other. That's pretty cool. They have the Sunday night game tonight.
Did they go to extras in the first game, or was that the second game?
That was the first game.
That was the first game.
Donaldson hit the walk-off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool to see.
San Francisco hit a walk-off the other night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much get things started. Also, just so awesome to see people back in the San Francisco kind of Bay Area or whatever.
Stadiums. Yeah.
Sitting in their canoes or whatever. Or their little kayaks, whatever they're called. Waiting for baseball.
In McCovey Cove, waiting for home runs. Yeah.
Love it.
That's so cool. I remember, speaking of that, I remember watching a Zach Hampel video. Edmund. I remember watching a Zach Hampel video from a few years ago when he went to San Francisco, and he was in the Zach Hampel's the foul ball guy. The guy that goes to the stands and catches the foul balls. And he was sitting there, and he met this one guy that goes to every game and sits in the canoes and kayaks and waits to catch home runs. So that's so cool to see people that do that every single game. And he had a few signs. Joe Panic was a Giants player for a long time, and he had never hit one into the water there. So he had a sign, if he got the ball from Joe Panic that would hit one, you could just hold up the sign and be Joe Panic's first splash hit or something like that. So he came prepared. People like that are back. It's so cool to see the baseball. Baseball, some people think it's a boring sport, but it's kind of like college football in a way where it's a lot more about the fans, I guess. Like baseball fans are just different,
Yeah, I think they're different too, and obviously you're probably not gonna like this comment, but because you are doing a lot of sitting around in the stadium, so you got to find some other ways to take up time while you're watching the game, and I think that's where some of the craziness comes out of the fans,
Yeah.
and that's why they're great fans in baseball is because you got to find something else to do sometimes in baseball.
Well, I also think that baseball is like the sport where you can just watch one team and just have a great time. Because in the NFL, obviously you're a fan of certain NFL teams, but you'll watch the Sunday night game, you'll watch the Monday night game of the week. I feel like a lot of baseball fans just watch their team's games, and they don't watch teams around the league.
Yeah, I think that's just because you have 162 games, so you
yeah.
have a game on every night. With the NFL, you have your team plays once a week.
Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's why
I get that,
you're watching your team. And I think that's why probably baseball fans are pretty diehard, especially like the Cardinals. So you've only got one team to keep track of, but
yeah. But yeah, I mean, great weekend of opening day baseball. Just kind of a preview of what we're going to see this year in baseball. I mean, especially for the Cardinals wise, they were advertised all offseason as kind of an offensive team, I guess, with, the big three, O'Neill, Goldschmidt, Arenado, and then a bounce back year from DeYoung, the breakout of Carlson, people like that were advertised. And so far, so good. I mean, I think we've put up 19 runs through 3 games. So that's beautiful. Love to see it. Today, put up 4 runs. We still have 2 innings left, but that's not terrible. I think our pitching just kind of sucked today. Tomorrow we have the final game with the Pirates. Hopefully we can win so we take the series because we don't really want a series split with the Pirates to start off the year. That would be kind of bad. So we win tomorrow, then this loss is just kind of forgotten about. We got Dakota Hudson going. I have no idea who the Pirates are going. Probably some random Joe Schmo because that's all they've thrown this series. They have no significant pitchers on their team. They really don't have any significant hitters either. Really, they're just
Brian.
Brian Hayes?
No, Reynolds.
Oh, Brian Reynolds. Oh, yeah. Both of the Bryans. Bryan and Brian Reynolds. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't think they're playing today, though. But so I guess they have a little bit, but not very much at all.
Yeah.
That's very Pirate. That's kind of the Bob Nutting way.
Yeah. And kind of like what you just said, we don't want to split with these guys. And I wrote this down because on paper, as I looked at this series, Pirates have got to be one of the worst teams that I've seen put together in an off season. And I mean, I'm no seam head by any stretch of the imagination, but they are just flat out a bad roster.
Yes.
Gross roster. Very sad for the city of Pittsburgh. They don't deserve that.
They don't deserve that at all. It's just sad to see that, but I mean that's kind of how the Pirates have been for the last 30 years.
Yeah,
since Bob Nutting took over the team, so he doesn't really care if they win or not. He just wants to, he never wants to, what's the word? Extend anybody, like give anyone a contract.
No, I know he's a big money saver.
Yep,
kind of guy.
Run out the players in their early years and then trade them away when they hit their contract year. Get something back for him, and then just do the same thing over and over again. He's never going to build anything, and that's just kind of the way the Pirates are going to be. But
yeah, he kind of lets the Steelers and the Penguins do the majority of the winning in that city.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he kind of just takes a backseat to them. But Cardinals, obviously, we said with the game with the Pirates tomorrow. Then they have 2-game series against Mike Matheny and the Royals coming up here at Busch. Those are going to be very populated games. And then next weekend we have a 4-game series against Milwaukee in Milwaukee. So that is going to be huge games. Obviously, the Cardinals and the Brewers are the 2 teams that are kind of going to be fighting for the division this year. Pirates, we just mentioned, obviously aren't. Reds traded away pretty much all their good players. They're not going to be fighting.
Young. They are young, though.
Yeah, they are. They'll definitely is going to be the start of building something this year, but I don't think they're really going to be ending. And then the Cubs, I have no idea. Because if you look at their roster on paper, it's not very good, but their fans and their ownership both seem to think that they're contending this year. So I'll believe it. And, they're about to sweep the Brewers, it looks like, in a series this on opening day weekend. So
Yeah.
That one outfielder, too, that they signed from Japan hit a moonshot of a home run today. We were just watching it before. So,
yeah.
Very cool to see all the stars get involved. Mike Trout hit a home run last night. Ohtani had a great opening day on the mound for the Angels.
Not as much at the plate, though.
No, he's been a little slow to start off, but it's the first 3-4 games of the year. So,
yeah.
Who else? Vladdy hits a bomb today. Absolute missile. I think it went 467 feet was the official measured distance. So that is a crazy hit there. Just so excited to see that. Speaking of the Blue Jays, though, that Blue Jays and Rangers series, so fun. I don't know if you saw it like on Twitter or not, but
I saw like that the Rangers were boasting about how they're beating the Blue Jays on opening day, and then they stormed back.
Yeah, it was like 7-1 Rangers, like going into the sixth or seventh inning, and the Blue Jays came all the way back. But in the eighth inning, or it might have been the ninth inning, it was sometime late in the game, and there's a questionable call, and the Blue Jays challenged it. And if this year, the umpires are obviously doing like the NFL style where they're announcing the replay reviews to the crowd. They're not just making the call safe or out. They actually have a microphone and they're announcing it to the crowd.
Which it should have always been that way, by the way. But
yeah, it makes it so much better. Even hockey does that where the ref announces the penalty to the crowd. And so they came back from the monitor and they're like, after review, the call has been overturned. And the crowd went nuts in Toronto. Like the Blue Jays players it looked like a playoff atmosphere. And that was just so cool to see that, a call like that could bring that energy to a crowd.
Yeah, I've always been a person that thinks that the Rogers Center is a magical place, going back to the Batista bat flip from all those years ago.
Or the Encarnacion walk-off against the Orioles in the wild card game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they have some crazy fans up there in Toronto. Some of the best in baseball, I think. Some of the most passionate.
Yeah. All right, well, leapfrog to something else here.
Cardinals are going out in very sad fashion today.
Sad.
But you know what else was sad?
There's two possibilities here to what you might be saying.
Sad for you and for the podcast.
I guess we'll address the obvious, the elephant in the room. North Carolina did lose in the national championship game on Monday night to Kansas. They blew a 15-point lead to the Jayhawks. I'm still kicking myself over it because we had the lead and stuff like that. But if you know anything about Kansas basketball, you knew a big run from them was imminent in the second half. I mean, that first half just wasn't Kansas basketball. And, of course, they had that big run. Hubert Davis never called a timeout to stop the run, and it just spiraled out of control rather quickly. I mean, Tuesday freaking sucked.
I can imagine.
I mean, awful. Everybody just berating me about North Carolina losing, and then just the fact that they did lose, I was already hurting a lot. Really tough to fall asleep that night on Monday night.
Especially because it's so late.
Yeah,
like the game starts at 8:20 our time, like on the East Coast where actually the university actually is.
Yeah, 9:20 there. So
yeah, the game wasn't over until almost midnight. That on a Monday night, that just doesn't. And no scheduling from the NCAA there.
It's always like that though. It's kind of like the Super Bowl. It's always on Sunday. But like, I compare this one, believe it or not, to the 2016 loss to Villanova. It hurts just as bad for some reason. the Villanova, if you don't know what I'm talking about, in 2016, North Carolina played Villanova in the national championship, and Chris Jenkins from Villanova hit a buzzer beater 3 to win the game.
Most electric shot of all
I mean,
time.
it's probably the most, besides Christian Laettner's shot against Kentucky to send them to the Final Four. I mean, it's one of the most famous shots in basketball history.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never been a buzzer beater to win the national championship, and until then. So that was also really hard to fall asleep that night because we literally had it, and we were a 1 seed that year, I'm pretty sure. 1 or 2, I can't remember, but that hurt. But this one hurt just as bad, and I think it was because it was the Cinderella run that we went on, and it was so much fun. And, we had the Iron Five: Brady Manick, RJ Davis, Caleb Love, Leaky Black, and Armando Bacot, the guys that play the bulk of the minutes. And,
Buff Johnson played it.
yeah, he
bulk of the
played,
minutes in the
and that was
championship.
because Leaky Black was in foul trouble. But, I'm gonna really miss that group. That's
How many of them are coming back? Manick's gone.
Manick is gone. Caleb Love should come back, in my opinion, but I think he thinks that he probably made himself some money in the tournament.
He did. What about Bacot?
I think Bacot will probably go, although he could benefit from coming back too, but I think he will go.
I don't know if he's going to benefit enough where he would come back.
Yeah, I know. The only reason why I think that some of them might come back is because obviously this is a very similar situation to 2016 when they did lose, and a lot of guys came back the very next year, and then they won the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they're very capable. And like I've said time and time again now, broken record at this point, but when this team lost, it was always really bad. But when they were on, they were a Final Four team when they were on. And obviously they were a Final Four team.
Almost won the national championship.
Yeah. So, if some of them come back, then they're going to have a shot. And Puff Johnson, I would imagine, is going to get heaps better. Same with Dontrez Styles. I hope some of these guys don't transfer out like Kerwin Walton because he didn't play that much down the stretch of the season, but I could see him transferring.
What about RJ Davis? Isn't he a senior?
No, he'll be a junior. He's actually the same grade as Caleb Love.
Oh.
So he's got some years left, and he developed into our point guard. But him and Caleb Love, as much as I hate to say it, I mean, love them to death for getting us there, but they kind of almost shot us out of that game. Besides, RJ Davis would hit a couple big shots here and there to stop some Kansas runs, but other than that, they kind of shot us out of the game. And then,
well, to me, it just seemed, because you shouldn't hang your head on this if you're a North Carolina fan, because that was just a great run. And you were an 8 seed. You not only went all the way to the Final Four, but then you beat Duke in the Final Four in Coach K's final game, and you almost beat the hottest team in the nation, the 1 seed Kansas, in the championship. You just barely lost. So that is not something that's a great season.
No, yeah, I agree.
Especially with Hubert Davis in his very first season. I don't think you could have, if you would have said like, oh, Carolina's going to beat Duke in the Final Four, lose by 3 in the national championship in Hubert Davis's first year, you would have been like, give it to me right now.
Yeah.
I'll take that any day. Even though obviously it did suck to lose initially. You looking back on it now, and you're probably like, I'm thankful for the run,
If they would have, I'm very thankful for the run, but if they would have won the national title too, it would have been like winning 2 national titles in 2 games. The Duke game they said that's the second most watched college basketball game.
I thought it was 5th.
5th. I think maybe it was second most watched Final Four game. So that's interesting that there's other games out there.
Yeah, I think that might be true, because I think the Magic Bird, like Michigan State and Indiana State.
Yeah, I saw something about that too.
Yeah, so that was the highest watch.
Crazy, obviously crazy crowd for that game in the Superdome. I can't believe they fill football stadiums for that. It's insane to see, because the seating for those games looks so funky. It doesn't angle up as much, so you're sitting so far away from the court, but still looks super awesome.
Well, at the same, the reason it does it is because the basketball court is so much smaller than a football field, and so when they put the court on the field, they have so much extra room on the field that they just have to fill with I think they put a lot of media members down there, in that area, but there are some fans that are just literally sitting on the football field watching the national championship. So that's pretty sick.
I hate Kansas, always have, but sadly, none of their players were super hateable. They didn't have like that Grayson Allen kind of guy that was really hateable. So I guess shout out to their players for not being scumbags like Bill Self. So
true.
But, and like you just said, I am very proud of this team. I think I said that last week too, no matter what happens. Very proud of this team because they fought throughout the season. I mean, they were a bubble team at one point. They weren't ranked in the AP top 25 coming into this tournament. I think they were ranked number 37. And
I thought they were ranked 25 exactly.
No, they weren't.
They were the week before, though.
Well, yeah, but that was during the tournament.
During the ACC tournament?
No, they were not ranked during the ACC tournament. They haven't been ranked in months.
They were ranked 25 one week.
Yeah, and then they lost it immediately, which was honestly
no, they were ranked 25 like the week before the tournament or something.
Maybe, but they lost
like
that
after they
lost in the ACC tournament.
After they beat Duke, they were ranked number 25. I remember that.
Not sure about that, but I'll take your word for it. But anyways, they weren't ranked going into the tournament, and then they were ranked number 2 in the AP poll after the tournament. So that's pretty cool. Just a really crazy game because, Armando Bacot broke the floor at the end of the game, and I wrote this down. It looked like that super bouncy floor that Zion was using to help him recover.
Yeah, the recovery floor or something that's easier on the knees.
The floor literally went in when he twisted his ankle.
Yeah, and that's the reason why he twisted his ankles because the floor moved and he wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah,
and that's something that you can't have happen in a national champion. That's terrible look for the people who put that together.
No, I mean
you can't have that happen.
That's literally a lawsuit. I don't think anything's gonna happen, but that's literally a lawsuit kind of situation.
Yeah,
good. Brady Manick got hit in the face like 3 times, including one of them being like in the top of his head and like the back of his head. So I'm pretty sure he was concussed after the first big hit from McCormick, and then the second time he got hit in the face, I'm pretty sure that brought him back to earth because then he started making shots after the second time he got hit in the face.
It uncussed him.
Yeah, unconcussed him. And then also Puff Johnson, who played his heart out because Leaky Black had to sit. He threw up everywhere on the court in the corner. Oh my God, he was.
I can't believe they showed that on TV. Like they were zooming in on him. Like he was just puking his guts out, and the camera was just slowly zooming in.
I love that stuff. I love it when they do that in the NFL. Like a guy will be like, his body will be not moving.
He'll just be twitching, because he has a major neck injury, and there's zoom in on him.
They'll zoom in on his face. That happened to what's his name, Donald Parham or something like that for the Chargers. This year I remember that.
But Tom Savage for the Texans. That's the one I always remember.
Yeah.
So you said that.
Tough game, but great season.
You said that North Carolina blew a 15-point lead, which is true. I also want to note that it was the biggest blown lead in championship history.
Yeah.
So, I thought after the first half, I thought they were locked to win. They were on their game the entire first half. They got a lot. I think they got lucky in the first half, but in the second half, it seemed like you said that Caleb Love just kind of shot him out of the game, which is true. He did take a lot of dumb shots, but at the same time, a lot of shots that they had weren't bad shots. They just didn't fall. They shot a lot of layups that just didn't go in. It seemed like there was a stretch of they just shot 5 or 6 layups and none of them went in.
Yeah. Well, Kansas's defense was suffocating once the second half started too, and that's what kickstarted their run, obviously. So, and Kansas plays hella good defense, and they did. So, like I said, that's what kickstarted it. But, another big loss for the podcast really was Jace Bradley lost the tourney challenge, which we were rooting for him super hard. So shout out to GOAT. But at the same time, we have no idea who you are. So that's on you.
Well, we actually don't have any idea who Jace Bradley is either.
But at least he put his name. We can just say Jace.
You could try and find him, but
Yeah. And then, but yeah, I'm just super excited for this team. As long as Hubert Davis is here, he does need to start recruiting a little better, but yeah, I'm excited for the program. That run was awesome, and I won't forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can be disappointed, but my team was a 1 seed and we didn't even make it to the Elite Eight. So,
Yeah, that's true.
um,
Mizzou, a little bit. Actually, I got a few notes here real quick. They were able to retain the 4-star Aiden Shaw, which
yep.
was huge for Coach Gates. And they also signed, I think his first name is Charles, but Coach Young, Charles Young from Florida State, who's an assistant, who was on the Florida State staff. And it looks like he's going to be Coach Gates' right-hand man. And he's going to be making about $1.8 million.
Wow.
And especially in the recruiting department, I think that's where he's really going to serve a true purpose, which is the most department, if you ask me, is recruiting, especially
Yes.
in the SEC. So
Uh-huh.
very big news there.
Especially in basketball too.
Also, the Mizzou baseball team almost beat number 1 Tennessee the other night, who hadn't I can't remember how many innings it was, but it was like an obnoxious amount, like 54 or something like that. They hadn't trailed in like 54 innings, and Mizzou was winning the majority of the game. But then, of course, they choked it away.
Classic
really
Mizzou
hard
fashion there.
at the end of the game. So
They
yeah,
really brought out the classic MIZ for that.
yeah. So that sucked, but it would have been cool if they would have pulled that off. So yeah. We'll do a quick little Masters thing here real quick.
Yes, the Masters, the greatest golf tournament. The actually only golf tournament that I can watch, like willingly. So
Yeah, I watched it on Friday. 'Cause
Same.
Thursday I was at school, and also Cardinals opening day.
Yes.
And my little sister had a play that I had to go attend. But Tiger made the cut after all was said and done, which was pretty incredible for him. But he hasn't done much at all on Saturday and Sunday. And Scotty Scheffler, who's currently leading, is just dominating though. And it's not very competitive here on Sunday. Love the crowd though.
Mhm.
It's
The full
I can't-
capacity Masters
yeah.
crowd is officially back after a
It's
2-year
awesome.
hiatus.
It's awesome seeing the crowd at Augusta. Like, their passion for golf is awesome. And then the course looked beautiful. Augusta looked beautiful, even though it was very windy on some of those days and not much sunshine at all. And the course still looked awesome. So
Well, I think a lot of the people at the Master, like the crowd at the Masters, I think are members of that golf course because Augusta is the only like major tournament for the PGA that is performed at a private golf course. All the other ones are public ones. This is one where you have to like pay a yearly amount to be a member just to golf on the course. It's the only course that the PGA uses for any of the major tournaments. So that's kind of cool too. That that tradition is carried on each and every year. Scotty Scheffler is the world ranked number 1 golfer, and he was dominating, but some other dude from Australia made a late push yesterday, and Scotty Scheffler kind of fell off just slightly at the end. So they cut the lead down to 3 strokes, which is very much attainable today. I actually haven't checked it all today to see what it's doing, but
yeah, been a busy day for actually both of us
yes,
to this point. But
very busy. But got it. I'll check it up right now if you want to.
yeah,
Tiger made the cut though.
yeah, and his following, Tiger's following is crazy. You know how people are with Tiger, and he is the centerpiece of golf, even though he hasn't played in it was like 500 days or something like that. And he shows up, he makes the cut just like that, and people love it. So shout out Tiger, I guess. But, at the same time, he almost died.
Yeah,
From that
he
car wreck.
really.
But
We thought he was going to be paralyzed.
I mean, not to shame, but I don't really feel all that sorry for him. He's going over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah,
So
it is still
could have
incredible.
very
though.
easily took somebody else's life too. So
Yeah, very
people
unsafe.
forget that,
I
but
think he might have been intoxicated too.
yeah, I definitely do think he was
Disapprove
intoxicated,
of that.
and it seems like he probably just paid the police department, paid somebody to not let that leak out. or maybe they just didn't report it since he
Maybe
was
they're
in
just huge
critical
Tiger
condition.
fans and didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a time where we thought he was going to be paralyzed. Like a huge, like we thought he was never going to golf again. So the fact that he came back that quick and made the cut still, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler has increased his lead by 1. The other dude, the Aussie dude, Cameron Smith.
Oh, Cam Smith. Yeah, he has the best mullet
Mhm.
at the tournament and
The
the
sick
best
mullet.
mustache at the tournament.
So he's shooting even today. Scotty Scheffler's shooting -1. So they got about 8 holes left, it looks like, because they're both through 10. And he's got a 4-stroke lead. So it's his to lose. He should win. He's an American. Rory McIlroy, though, is shot out of his – he shot -7 today to move to -6 total. So he's back in contention. So talk
That's
about
really good.
Talk about a hell of a day for Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
To bring himself in, probably getting himself a bag with this performance today.
Yeah. No, you get paid big.
Top 5 get paid huge. Get paid
Yeah.
very handsomely. So he's tied for second right now.
Yeah. Shout out to
And
the
he's got
Cam fam, though.
Yeah.
Cam Smith.
Will Zalatoris also shooting -5 today to get into the top 5 as well.
He took second last year.
Yeah, he did. So he's just a Masters guy, I guess.
Yeah.
I think
he
you bet on
doesn't
him to
do
get
much
finished
else.
top 10.
But he does perform super well at the Masters.
So Tiger Woods finished today +6, +13 overall. But he made the cut. So.
Yeah. Luckily, Bryson DeChambeau didn't make the cut. So
yeah. So we actually have fair. The turf, the greens won't get torn up today.
Yeah.
So it's a fair round.
I hate that guy.
But what was it? It's actually so the Masters is par 72. Like if you shoot par every time, you'll get a 72 strokes. But according to Bryson DeChambeau, it's actually 67.
Yeah, it's a par 67 course.
So, yeah, you shot really bad if it was a par 67. That's all I gotta say.
Good. God, hate that.
What a clown. Some dude named Champ, Cameron Champ. He's at +1, top 10 right now.
2 guys with the name Cameron in the top 10.
Dustin Johnson, who may be high.
Cam fam.
Dustin Johnson, even. He's in the top 8. Colin Morikawa, those are all the Americans that are in the top 8. Also, Justin Thomas as well.
Yeah, he was playing pretty good.
Shane Lowry out of Ireland, shooting -3. He looks like he's going to finish top 5. I was watching him on Friday. They were showing him a lot. He kind of reminds me of a Patrick Reed type of guy, just maybe not as much of an asshole.
But. Yeah, well, it would be – I wish, he would have done better because nobody from Ireland's ever won it. So
really,
yeah, I hope he's able to bring a green jacket to Ireland someday. Would be a fitting color for Ireland.
Yeah, it would. Nope, Cardinals officially lose.
Yep. So they'll drop their first game of the year.
Hey, it happens. No team's ever gone 162-0. So I think it's time to turn on Jim Nantz in the Masters.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another thing. Jim Nantz is back too. I have no idea who the other guy is that announces it, but I know Jim Nantz. Well, always there.
They flip around.
Oh, really?
2 different guys, like whoever's golfing and stuff. So, but yeah,
that makes sense.
So, NBA.
We could do that, or we could do a segment.
Okay, yeah, we'll do a segment before we jump into the NBA. Interesting stuff going on in the NBA.
Tough scene.
All right, sure. Tough scene of the week. Number 1 for me, senioritis. Senioritis. Hardcore Henry. I hate schoolwork right now. I'm ready for it to end.
I'm going to be honest. This might be a bad confession. I probably shouldn't confess this yet, but I haven't done actual homework in so long. Like the work that I have, I just do it during school. Like I actually don't do it at home. I hate it so much.
I hate it too, but I can't afford that.
I can. Oh, that's a splash.
So yeah. Full gear senioritis is ready for, but not, I'll miss everybody, obviously, but the schoolwork side of it, ready for it to be over with for at least the summer. Also, another tough scene of the week of mine was just the Nationals just continuously hitting the Mets players in the face during the game the other night with the baseball. I think they hit them they hit them in the face. What was it? 4
3
times?
They hit him 4
3
times.
times.
4 times, 3 times in the face.
Yeah,
4 times
3
together.
times in 14 innings, though. So they're averaging like 1 every 4.5 or something like that. Including they hit Lindor, which is when the bases or not the bases, sorry, the dugout's cleared. So
Yeah, he got drilled, but he stood right up immediately, and
I have no idea how he did. So yeah. Also, I took my senior pictures today, and there's a great chance that my eyes were closed in a bunch of them because it is unbelievably sunny outside here in Missouri. I took them during, like at noon and stuff. So there's a great chance that my eyes were closed. So if you ever do take senior pictures, I recommend doing it in the evening.
My tough scene is actually a little bit of a foreshadowing to what we're going to talk about later. But it's just Adam Schefter. He's on the hot seat. He should be on the hot seat anyway. He said this is multiple occurrences now.
Yeah. And you'll figure out what we're talking about here in a second. So
you probably already know, but yeah, we'll address it later. So that's all I have to say. I don't want to give away too much, but
yeah,
Adam Schefter, definitely a tough scene. And the sad part about it is I don't think he cares that he had a tough scene.
Yeah. Scotty Scheffler on the cool throne. Adam Schefter on the hot seat.
Yes. I don't know. Scheffler might be on the hot seat here in a second, too. He just lost a stroke.
I think he got it.
Okay.
But
I think so, too, but we'll see. All right. That was a very quick segment.
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah. It's okay. Not a lot of tough scenes this week.
No. Pretty fine week besides school.
But one other thing that's going to start this next week, during Easter week, this is, today's Palm Sunday, next week, Easter Sunday, the end of Lent. I know a lot of people out there, do Lent. That ends soon, next Sunday. But another thing that starts this week, the NBA playoffs.
Yep.
And the play-in tournament, which is a new that's a
Gam's had enough of that club.
You want to talk about?
Yeah.
So play-in matchups, I think most of them are set already. The East is still up for grabs.
Before we get into that, I just have one thing to talk about. The Lakers were eliminated from the playoffs. Very sad. An extremely tough scene. It's so crazy that they were like fighting for the playoffs while they only had like 31 or 34 wins. I can't remember how many they had, but terrible season for the Lakers. They had 39 different starting lineups compared to their
32
wins. So that's just sad.
Also, LeBron on the hot seat as well, because he tweeted out on April Fool's Day, "I'm out for the year. I'll see y'all next year." And it turns out it actually wasn't an April Fool's joke. So
yeah,
he was out for the year.
So obviously LeBron still had a great season. And it kind of reminded me of his first year in LA when, they probably would have made the playoffs as long as he didn't hurt his hamstring, I think it was that year. But, he's talked about this ankle for a while now. I mean, I think he heard it last year or the year before that, and he said it's never going to be the same. And I don't think his ankle has been the same. So that part, LeBron exaggerates a lot. But I think that's something that he's actually pretty truthful on. I don't think his ankle is ever going to be the same the way he keeps playing on it when it's hurt. So that's just something about the Lakers. I don't know how they're going to do next year either. It seemed, you have LeBron and AD, and LeBron is understandable that he can't stay healthy. He's old.
And he's had a lot of minutes under his belt too.
He has to do so much. But AD, I have no idea what's up with him. So.
He's made of glass.
Yeah, he's made of glass.
Well, it's not that he breaks. That's what they say for people who break bones a lot. He just he'll go out with a sore pinky finger.
Yeah,
and it's oh, my thigh's a little sore today. I'm not going to play. And then the next day, it's oh, I sprained my eyeball or something like that. It's he makes up fake injuries.
Yeah, you'll see sometimes. He'll be out. His hair hurts or something like that. And
he got his hair pulled and his head hurts.
It's insane. I remember Barry McCockiner actually talking about this a few years ago. He goes, if the Lakers want to win multiple championships, Anthony Davis is going to have to get a hell of a lot tougher, and he hasn't yet. So we'll see. I don't know, but that leapfrogs to the next thing. On the other side of the NBA, the East is just loaded with solid teams that can contend.
Yes.
Like we mentioned last week, the Bucks, the Nets, who are trying to scrape their way in. And I think they have.
They're in the
And
play-in tournament.
So, good teams there. Bulls, Heat are the 1 seed. So
Bulls are the teams that have
Celtics,
clinched.
Sixers.
Heat are the 1 seed. Bulls are the 6th seed, and then the Cavs, Nets, Hawks, and Hornets are all locked into a play-in spot. It's looking like the Cavs and Nets are going to get a first-round matchup as the 7-8 seed. One of those teams will for sure be in the playoffs, and then Hawks and Hornets are going to have to fight a little bit harder as they're going to be the 9 and 10 seeds, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I wrote this down. All 10 teams that are contending for the playoffs in the East have records. All of them are 3 games above 500. In the West, that was just simply not the case. Your 9 and 10 are 36 and 45 and 34 and 47. That's why the Lakers had a shot to get in. They're 32 and 49, the Lakers are. And they had a shot to get in, but they blew it somehow with their roster that's very solid.
Frank Vogel, the Lakers head coach, will not be coming back next year. The team announced that a few days ago after they were officially eliminated, which I think we can all kind of see coming.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't make the playoff. You don't even make the top 10 in your conference with this team. You kind of deserve to be fired. So
yeah. Well, speaking of Par 67, Will Zalatoris.
Yep.
Shout out to 67. But yeah, so East is loaded with just good teams. Also, the Raptors. I forgot about the Raptors. They know how to.
They're locked into the 5 seed. Yep.
So
I hate the Raptors though. I don't know why. They're just that team right now. They're kind of like the Houston Cougars. Like they have no stars. Obviously, they have Fred VanVleet and they have Pascal Siakam. But compared to like the other stars in the league, those aren't big names at all. And they're just kind of like they're the random team that just somehow plays good. And I hate teams like that.
Well, they're kind of like the Jazz. I know the Jazz have Donovan Mitchell.
They have Donovan Mitchell.
But like
I
this
hate
is
the
how
Jazz
I view
too.
like the Raptors are like the Jazz, isn't like so the Jazz make up for it with they have a little star power, but they're literally in Salt Lake City.
Oh,
and Toronto is in Toronto, an awesome city.
Yeah.
And their best players are Fred VanVleet and Siakam. Now, I was just about to say this. I love Fred VanVleet. He played at Wichita State, and he is an NCAA March Madness kind of just awesome player. He was awesome at Wichita State during their glory days. So it's awesome to see him doing well in the NBA. I don't think he was drafted. So
who?
Fred VanVleet.
Oh, yes.
The guard. So
Yep.
Yeah.
But he might have been drafted.
Another thing that's interesting to point out, just to shed some light to the Suns, who are the 1 seed in the West. What a turnaround that organization has had.
So
starting
true.
with Devin Booker in that 8-game win streak in the bubble, #BubbleBall. They didn't even make the playoffs after.
But they sure as hell wrote their name down, and
and they haven't looked back since then. They really have not. They got to the finals last year, lost in 6 to the Bucks, which was an awesome series. We talked about that before. But they're right back in the thick of things once again. So shout out Devin Booker. Also, I'd like to announce that I will be officially bandwagoning the Bucks for the second straight year. Going respectfully, bandwagoning the Bucks for the second straight year.
Well, like I said, I've always rooted for the Heat since Tyler Hero was drafted there, and I like Jimmy Butler, like Eric Spoelstra, so I'll be rooting for them again. But even though they're the 1 seed, it doesn't feel like they're the favorite to come out of the East.
No, it's kind of like the Jazz when they were the 1 seed a few years ago.
Last year.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because they lost in the second round. But it feels like, obviously the Bucks are going to be favorites. The Celtics seem to be a popular pick, which is understandable. They've been hot. The Nets even are a possible pick, which they could be set for a first-round matchup with the
Heat.
Which would be
sad for the Heat.
Oh, that would be incredibly sad. But something tells me the Nets are going to win that first play-on game, get the 7 seed, and then the Heat will end up with the Cavs or Hornets or somebody like that.
I'm happy to see LaMelo Ball make the playoffs can actually get in if he can. That'd be interesting. And for Michael Jordan, shout out MJ. Good for
True.
him.
You know, so but a team that I think is really getting overlooked here, Memphis, the Grizzlies. That's going to be my Western Conference team I root for.
Like our closest team, by the way.
Yes. Also, it might be a bandwagon, but that's also the closest team to where we're at. Maybe the Pacers, but I hate the Pacers.
I hate the Pacers.
They're just such a boring team.
I don't like the
They've never
Colts
been
either.
excited.
I don't like the Colts either. They like
I like the Colts. They have good colors.
who was it? Okay, so like when the Rams left, the Colts, like the franchise, invited all of St. Louis to be fans, of the Colts. Just like a funny thing. Easiest turn down ever. I'm just not a Colts guy, not a Pacers guy either. So Memphis, I can get along with Memphis. I've been there.
They
It's
have
an awesome
sweet jerseys. I actually have a
Yeah.
John Morant jersey, so
Same. We both have jaw jerseys.
yeah, I have a Tyler Hero jersey as well. So I guess I'll just go with the jerseys that I have. I'll root for those two teams.
Yeah.
But picks: Timberwolves versus Clippers on Tuesday. I would assume the 7-8 matchup in the Eastern Conference. It looks like it's going to be Cavs and Nets. Not for sure though, not clinched. Looks like that's going to be on Tuesday as well. I got the Clippers winning that game if Kawhi is healthy, if he's back. If not, might have to go with the, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and the boys up in Minnesota.
I would way rather see the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know it's not like a big market or anything. I don't really give a shit about that. I would just rather see Ant-Man and Cat. I feel Cat is a good guy, and
He's a hell of a player too.
Yeah, hell of a player, and I've just felt so bad for him since he lost his mom to COVID. I mean, that was just unbelievably sad when that happened. So I hope they get in and have a good record. I think this is where it comes into the fact, like, the possibility that, like, the Spurs could get in and that there's a possibility that the Timberwolves
That would be
could
so
not make the
cheesy.
playoffs, because their records are so different. I mean, the Timberwolves are 12 games above 500. Meanwhile, the Spurs are 13 games under 500. And one of those teams could make the playoffs, so.
Yeah, it would be cool to see the Spurs make the playoffs because it's Greg Popovich. It's his last year coaching. So whatever, if they lose in the playing game, that'll be his last game ever.
Yeah. Also,
Pelicans and Spurs on Wednesday.
If the Pelicans get into the playoffs, are they thinking about playing Zion or are they just waiting?
I don't know.
I would
hope that they would. Because
I would be all in to watch Zion again. I miss his fat ass out there on the court.
He's so large.
I love it.
Gumbo was the worst thing that happened to him.
I love it when Mark Jackson and Van Gundy are on the call and they're just constantly sitting there like, he is just so fat. And
Jeff Van Gundy?
Yeah.
Jeff Van Gundy's talking about being fat.
And then Mark Jackson will just be like,
you just can't be fat. You just can't do that.
Mark Jackson's not the skinniest himself either. They're quite large men as well.
Best thing to watch is when those two guys are talking about Zion being fat. So I hope we get to see that. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that would be awesome.
That's funny. I got the Pelicans beating the Spurs on Wednesday. So, and then I have the Timberwolves beating the Pelicans. Clippers getting the 7. No, wait, no. I said if Kawhi doesn't play. Right? So then I'll have the Clippers beating the Pelicans. They kind of got that alligator blood in them. They've come back from a lot of big deficits this year. So
who?
Clippers.
Oh, okay.
Reggie Jackson's kind of a beast.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And he's an athlete.
I remember
that true athlete.
I remember that one clip of him just like doing the high step on Westbrook and Westbrook just falling on his ass in the middle of the court. And it was so funny.
Who was the guy that like started fighting people last year?
Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
He's on the Timberwolves now. So they're going to be playing each other.
That was incredible when he started doing that. Hopefully we get some of that. That stuff is very like playoff basketball for the NBA. That's where that stuff is so prime.
Mm-hmm.
They fight all the time, bicker. It's like their competitive spirits really come out.
Oh,
so as Rory McIlroy hits one into the sand pit, but yeah, I'll be quite honest. I think we can both admit to this that we do not watch the NBA until the
Nope,
playoffs.
I don't.
And
But guess what?
I'm a big traditionalist, saying that NBA season, first off, doesn't even start till Christmas Day. And I actually do usually watch some of the games on Christmas Day as long as there's no NFL. But over the past few years, there's been NFL. So
I think the only amount of NBA basketball I've watched the fourth quarter of a Hornets Lakers game. I've watched the first quarter of a Suns Lakers game
brutal.
where the Suns absolutely annihilated the Lakers, and that might be it. I don't recall watching any other minutes of the NBA. I've seen highlights, but as far as like actually turning on a game and watching it, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I see. I like to catch up on it with highlights and stuff. I've caught many bits and pieces of games this year, like usually just the ends of games. I'll turn it on when something else ends. But yeah. Also, it seems that our local network seems to get the Grizzlies games sometimes, and sometimes they get the Pacers games too. So I've had to watch the Pacers play a lot, which gross.
why would you do that? I'd rather watch
usually they're playing good teams like the Cavs and stuff. So that's
the
okay.
Cavs. That's your version of a good team. Wow, the Pacers and Cavs. I'd rather watch
I did
a
not say
paintball
the Pacers
contest.
were. Pacers are not good. I'm not a Pacers guy. We just established that. I'm not an Indianapolis guy, except for the draft combine.
Why would you put yourself through that? I'd rather watch hockey. Hockey's actually not bad.
No, playoff hockey's good too.
Yeah, that's
But-
starting a little later this year, though.
Unless you go to a Blues game, for me, hockey season doesn't start till the playoffs start either. So
True.
that's just how we are.
Yep. I mean, actually, hockey season has probably started now because it's a playoff push. I feel like the playoff push counts just as much as the playoffs.
If your team's pushing.
Yeah, the Blues are pushing. They're trying to avoid a wild card spot right now, which would be huge because if you get the wild card spot, you have to play the Avalanche, and
Yikes.
that's an instant elimination. So, hopefully we can avoid that and maybe have a chance at a first round win before we have to play the Avalanche. So,
Yeah. It's like clockwork, though, playing against the Avalanche. Seems
Hey,
like over the last few
you play
years.
them in the conference finals,
Anything can happen.
anything can happen.
Yeah. Okay, that's very
Also,
true.
at the same time, they're on their way to win the President's Cup, and like the last 3 President's Cup winners all lost in the first round.
What the hell is the President's Cup?
It's the best regular season record.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah,
like-
that happened to the Lightning a few years ago.
The
too, I
year
remember that.
the Blues won, the Lightning had it, and they got swept in the first round. Last year, I think it was the Golden Knights that won it, and they lost to the Avalanche in, I think, the second round. I think they did make it out of the first round. But the President's Cup winner does not typically have a very much postseason success, especially as of recently. So
Let me ask you this. So the Avalanche, or not the Avalanche, sorry, the Vegas Knights, you know how they had like their own kind of draft to start their team or whatever, right? Where they get
Yeah,
to pick players.
the
from-
expansion draft.
Yeah, expansion draft. Couldn't find the word for it. How do you think that would fare, say, like in the NFL? Because the Vegas Knights, they literally made the world or the Stanley Cup that year. I just don't think if an expansion team happened in the NFL, I do not think an NFL team would have nearly as much success.
No, because
as
it's
a
different. It's the same way like the NBA wouldn't have as much success because in the NFL you rely on star power. Like you have to have at least a few stars on your team to do well, and you typically have to have a good quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Whereas in hockey, I feel like you can excel off slightly above average players and good coaching
Yeah, no, good coaching
because
and guys that mesh well together.
it's so deep. Like the Avalanche literally drafted 30 guys, 30 slightly above average guys. Like some teams will have like a really good first because you have 4 lines in the NHL and they'll like all swap. So the first line will be full stars. Second and third line will be kind of average guys, and then the fourth line will just be like random guys. But the Vegas Golden Knights, they had like 4 very even lines. And so they, when the fourth line was on the ice, they were better than most other teams because they took guys from the second and third line. Wow, Cameron Smith is pissed. They took guys from off other teams' second and third lines to be on their fourth line. However, they also took guys off the second and third line to be on their first line. So, but they're on the ice pretty even times. So that's why they do. I think baseball would even do very similar.
Yeah, I
but
think I was just about to say this. I think baseball, it would be probably the second best turnout for an expansion team
oh yeah,
because you can't, like obviously with expansion drafts, you can't cover up everybody. You can cover up your stars to not be taken from you, but you can't cover up everybody. And if you only cover up your stars in baseball, that leaves lots of decent players. And if you can just fill your team with decent players, then you've got a shot to be a good team.
oh yeah. But you also see the other side of it with the Seattle Kraken this year, and they're one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, that's true.
So that could be a
backfired.
reflection on either coaching or just the fact that maybe Vegas got lucky.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
had really good drafts,
And
you
it's
know?
in Vegas.
And it's in
baby,
Vegas.
So,
But yeah, I think the MLB expansion draft is something we may be looking at here in the future. Rob Manfred has talked about it very openly about adding 2 more teams to get the 32, the full 32 in the league. So,
where would they put them?
well, I don't know, but it's been talked about
Like
either
Portland?
no. Montreal has had some talk about bringing the Expos back. Charlotte, I think, is a hot spot. Vegas, obviously, that's kind of the hot spot. I
Oh
guess
yeah,
Florida teams
send
right
one to
now.
Vegas.
And I think Nashville as well is another place that's been talked about. So that would be interesting. Those are the 4 places, obviously.
No freaking way! Holy shit! What a shot from
Oh
Rory!
my god, that was the finish. That was hole 18. He's done. Was that
What
an
a
eagle?
shot! I don't know. I can't hear him. Wow.
Oh my.
I feel like a lot of Nashville guys, a lot of them are Cardinals fans.
Yes,
So that would kind of
because
suck.
they have the Memphis Redbirds in their state,
Yeah.
and that's the Cardinals AAA affiliate. So,
So
wow, Roy McIlroy finishes
shot.
-7. What a day for him! Unbelievable.
wow. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know much about the NBA this year to give picks other than that I'm excited for the playoffs again. So
Yeah, like obviously the playing games will start on Tuesday and Wednesday, and they'll probably wrap up on Thursday because you have 3 playing games for each league. So Thursday or Friday is when they'll probably maybe Friday. They might give them an extra day off, and then the actual playoffs will start next week. So
yeah.
I'll probably watch those because it's a 1-game elimination. You know, you lose, you're done. It's
Yeah.
win or go home. So
No, those atmospheres should be awesome for their games. So
Yep.
Yeah. NBA talk.
yeah.
# basketball.
All right, we're getting kind of the end of the show here, but
Yeah.
there is a few NFL things that we
Yeah.
have to mention.
Always.
We were actually talking yesterday about like, man, there's not that much NFL stuff that has happened this week, and then like immediately after we were talking about that, like this news
Yeah.
broke,
So
and it's not good news. either.
I'll start it since I'm a Steeler guy. Saturday was absolutely rough. Woke up kind of late. It was like 10 a.m. And I woke up to a 3-year Letterman tweet, funny tweet. And then the next thing I saw was Luke sent it to our Twitter group chat that Dwayne Haskins had passed away via Adam Schefter, his first original tweet. We'll get into that here in a second. And Dwayne Haskins was killed, hit by a car, only 24, well, not a car, a truck,
Dump truck
a dump truck, but
on the interstate, so probably going like 70, 80 miles an hour.
and he was only 24 years old. Supposedly hit by a dump truck on the interstate, and then he was out of his car. He had to pull over to the side of the interstate, apparently, and then he got out of his car. Is what we're hearing.
I think obviously I don't think the reason's been confirmed, but a lot of speculation is saying that he ran like out of gas, and so he pulled his car over to the side of the road, side of the interstate, no problem, and then he got out, and then he went to cross the interstate. I don't know if there's like a gas station there or whatever was there. Maybe he was trying to get help or something, but he got out of his car and crossed the interstate, and I guess he just misjudged on how far one of these trucks was away, and it just crushed him.
Yeah. And it really stings as a college football fan and a part of the Steelers family. You know,
Wow.
everybody remembers him his time at Ohio State, especially his Rose Bowl game performance where he just picked apart, I think it was Washington that year. And he was just a great Buckeye. But, he was down there training with Mitch, Najee, Chase Claypool, and they were just hanging out, being boys, guys being dudes.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about. They were just training down in Boca Raton. And just like that, he was gone. Chase Claypool talked about it. He was with them hours before he died, and, he just died that morning. So,
Yeah, I saw
very
a video of
sad.
him, like, crying. I don't know if he was, like, on a live stream or something, but he, like, he would just started breaking down.
Yeah, he was in his
And
car, if you've seen that video.
yeah, he was just crying, like, saying how much he loved them. And that's the thing, because, like, when we saw when you see a lot of these players die in car accidents, you're like, "Oh, they were probably doing something bad,"
Mhm, like
like
Henry
Henry
Ruggs.
Ruggs, even though he didn't die. But you're like, "Oh, they were probably driving intoxicated," so you don't really feel bad for him. But in this case, like, he didn't have anything in his system. He wasn't that type of guy to do that.
Mm-mm.
He was a great teammate, very lovable guy, great sense of humor.
Hardest worker, apparently one of the hardest workers on the team.
Yeah, even though he
Um,
did struggle apparently in Washington and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But it just sucks to see a guy and a lot of people talk about, like, he's only 24, like, he had a lot of great NFL potential ahead of him, which is true, but I see that as, a great human.
Mhm,
Like,
he had a
not
lot
only
of
did we lose a great football player, but we lost a great human.
yeah.
And for the Steeler community, even though he wasn't gonna start, it was probably gonna be Mitch that started. So you didn't lose a lot, you just lost the teammate and the great person that he was and, all that he brought to the
Yeah.
clubhouse. So
He's married too, so, he was a husband.
yeah.
I'm sure he was planned on being a father at some point soon, probably, honestly.
Yeah.
So, feel bad for his wife as well, obviously, and obviously his whole family. And Steelers Nation, like I said, it was rough. It was a rough way to start the Saturday, and it kind of put a damper on the whole day, to be honest.
Yeah,
So,
it did. And I got, a notification, and it was Steelers quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, dies, and I was just in shock. I was like,
yeah,
"What?"
yeah,
And I had to go to Twitter to confirm if it was true, and it was, and it just took it out of me. I was just so shocked.
yeah. Those things that you just, I mean, it happens every day, those types of things, but not to NFL players or NBA players or MLB players. And, there was lots of, support for him, obviously, and we'll get into this second. Obviously, lots of outcry from all across the country, all major sports leagues about the Schefter tweet.
Yes.
So, Schefter had a very dick move tweet once again, as we said.
Well, it wasn't just that, but
he just wasn't very aware.
I'll read it.
Of what he was putting out there.
So he did delete it later. It was like 20 minutes later he deleted it, which is good, I guess, because there is no hold on. I think I find it. So he changed it to Dwayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before becoming Washington's first-round pick and playing in Pittsburgh, died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida, per his agent, Cedric Saunders. Haskins would have turned 25 years old in May. Even that is too much, I feel like. That is his corrected tweet. The one that he sat and, deleted.
I think that one's obviously more fine.
I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that one, but I feel like he could have just been, very tragic or something tragic news out of Florida this morning. Steelers quarterback Dwayne Haskins has died at the age of 24, according to his agent, Cedric Saunders. My thoughts and prayers are with his family at this time, or something like that. That would have been that's all you needed. Because obviously you need to announce it to, the world.
Yeah, I think the journalism part in him obviously is why he put out Ohio quarterback standout and stuff
Well,
like that
here,
because
I found
not
the original
everybody
tweet.
knows who Dwayne Haskins is, believe it or not. We're
Well, yeah.
football guys. We do. But not everybody does know that. So if you just say Steelers quarterback Dwayne Haskins, people could be like, oh, he could be their practice squad guy. Not that would make a difference, but it does, help a little bit more context.
Yes, but here, I'll find the original tweet. Dwayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before struggling to catch on with Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL, died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida. Like, is that like you're announcing this guy's death, and in the same sentence that you say he died this morning, you're also saying he wasn't very good at playing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's so unnecessary, so rude. It just blows your mind how someone with such high position in the NFL, believe it or not, him and Rappaport are the top guys in the NFL, and they stand alone. Those are the two guys you look for when you get your NFL news. And obviously, Schefter works for ESPN, Rappaport works for NFL Network. And just to see somebody like that, just have such a dick tweet.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine how his family, they just found out that he died, and they find out that the most prominent NFL reporter says, oh, they stand at Ohio State, but we're struggling to catch on with teams, with Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, really?
No, I don't know.
When what's a president or somebody that's like George H.W. Bush, when he died a few years ago, that would have been like, he had some bad, foreign relation. George W. Bush, the blah, blah, blah president, 41st president of the United States, also very struggled with foreign relations, died this morning.
Yeah.
Saying something like that, it's just like.
That was not necessary.
It's like that, but maybe a little bit worse because, George H.W. Bush was old, but Dwayne Haskins was not.
Yeah. No way. Okay. Yeah, it was just a sucky day. And like I said, lots of outcry from all kinds of athletes saying that's not how you report that. And, I think this is going to actually hurt Schefter hard because, Fell Stars tweeted about it like, you wrong for this and stuff like that. So, if a player gets signed, I don't know if this is how it works or not, but I think it's part of it. If you get signed, a player like Lamar Jackson might tell his agent to be like, no, don't tell Schefter. No, tell Rappaport, instead to break that news and stuff like that. So
I think the difference between Schefter and Rappaport is like Rappaport is a human. Like, I feel like he's a human that happens to report NFL news for a living. Schefter, I feel like he's just a guy. He just lives and breathes NFL news.
He's a robot.
Yes,
he's crazy.
He is like Rappaport. He goes on like the Pat McAfee show and talks with Pat McAfee almost every week, sometimes multiple times. And, he's always talking about his family, what his kids are doing now, what he's getting ready to go out and do. He's trying something new. He's skiing, he's bowling, he's doing all these things. And he talks about that, and then he, gives a few NFL things, things that have happened, updates on that. So I feel like you get that human sense from Rappaport, even in his tweets, like when Pat McAfee was on WrestleMania, obviously he was like, this was so fun or something like that. Schefter, like, he just lives and breathes like sports reporting. Like sometimes he'll tweet about like other sports. Like I think when Kansas won the national championship, he's like, Kansas basketball has won the national championship. It's like, dude, stick to your sport. But like he tries too hard, and I feel like he tries to get clicks.
I think he just does that for fun. But
I don't think he has a wife.
No, he does.
He does.
He
doesn't have any kids though. Does he?
I thought he did, but
he doesn't talk about him if he does.
His wife, her former husband died in the Twin Towers.
Oh, he has 9/11?
Yeah, he has a memoir, a book about, it's called
The Man I Never Knew or something like that.
Adam Schefter does, and it's about him. So that's probably the classiest thing he's ever done. But I don't know. I'm ready to, he's had some stuff like this, obviously the Tom Brady thing, which he was ultimately right about. He reported it way early, though.
But guess what? Tom Brady's back, so he was wrong.
Yeah, but he did retire, so that is correct.
I still think he missed on that, but I'm not counting that. I'm not giving that one to him.
worst things I think he ever did was when you may not remember this, I don't know if you will or not, but he said that Andrew Luck's retiring, and Andrew Luck was not ready to address that yet. It was like during like a blowout preseason game or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And Andrew Luck was not ready, and he was like crying at the podium and stuff because he wasn't ready to say it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Schefter just broke it.
Well, because I remember because he broke it in the middle of the game, and like Andrew Luck had to walk off the field in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
They like literally made him walk off the field, and he was like crying, and the fans were like waving goodbye to him because they're in shock. It was just such a bad. Also, earlier this year, just another thing that happened this year for Schefter was the Dalvin Cook thing, like where apparently like his wife or his girlfriend or something like threatened to murder him or something like that, and he said like Dalvin Cook has been like on. He basically made it look like it was Dalvin Cook's fault, like in his original tweet. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember it. And he made Dalvin Cook look like the bad guy when that, in fact, was actually the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So that's a miss. That's something that's very serious. Another thing was
the Deshaun Watson.
yeah,
Said he was innocent.
yeah, which the charges were dropped, but that does not mean you're innocent at all. And he tweeted out just like Deshaun Watson, planned on and had said all along he is innocent in this case, and it's like just complete disrespect to the potential victims. Now, granted, he could be innocent, but that's not something that is terrible journalism integrity, especially for someone at that level to say that.
Yeah.
And as Kurt Benkert said, I love Kurt Benkert, backup quarterback for the Packers. He said mistakes happen, sentences are said that aren't supposed to be said, messages are sent that aren't supposed to be sent, which is understandable. We're all humans. We're going to make mistakes. Obviously, you have to face the consequences of your mistake, but you can ultimately be forgiven. But when you do it over and over again, that's when it's not a mistake anymore. It's just who you are. And I feel like this might be the final straw for Schefter where people just start to hate him.
Yeah, it's interesting because he just signed a new contract too, but
yes, which is shocking to me.
But yeah, so that's
I unfollowed him after that. I mean, I kept following him all along just because he's that, but I pulled the plug on him the other day. So after that, that's just something you can't have happen at all.
Yeah. Well, a few other notes, a little bit on the brighter side of things, a little bit regular NFL stuff. Brandon Cooks is re-signing with the Texans for some strange reason. I think he must be a believer in Mills Mafia, but which is respectable. I think Packers fans kind of wanted him, though,
Yes.
maybe.
That was a guy where you felt like he's a very reliable guy. Not a big name. You could probably get, obviously DK Metcalf's the big name. You could get this guy for pretty cheap, and he could be a very reliable number one here next year.
Yeah, and then so I think Packers fans missed out on that night. But honestly, shout out to Brandon Cooks for just staying home, I guess.
Yeah.
That's pretty respectable as well. But also Calais Campbell re-signed with the Ravens for 2 years. He's about 6'8" and a big man for the Ravens, so that he's staying there. He's always been a great player. And then this was an interesting one. The Eagles signed an Olympic sprinter who played football at Oregon, Devin Allen. That's pretty interesting.
He's got to be fast.
I think he ran a 4.35 the other day at the Oregon Pro Day.
That's kind of underwhelming.
That's what I thought too, but he doesn't run 40s very often. He just kind of lined up and did it.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's in 3 years. So we'll see how long this works out for him. But yeah, and also the draft is really starting to heat up. So getting really excited for that. April 28th, mark your calendars.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. You want to give, before we get to say hello, kiss goodbye, you want to give a little bit of predictions for not only the NBA playoffs, but the MLB regular season, since they're both kind of getting underway here. MLB already started, but there's 162 games. Our predictions literally are not going to be based off these. So the first few games.
Like I said, not a seam head by any means, but I think the Dodgers are probably going to be just fine and might have a chance to waltz their way to the World Series.
Oh,
but And then in the American League, I like the Yankees again. I think their roster is awesome, but they've tended to just kind of choke in the playoffs as of late. But I think this might be the year of the Yank.
Wow. So you're saying that it's going to be Dodgers Yankees?
That's what I'm gonna say. I think it's gonna be a journalism dream.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. I'll go. I think the Dodgers will win the division. I'll say the Cardinals will win the division. I'll go with the Braves winning the East again in the NL. I think the Mets will be a wild card. I think the Brewers will be a wild card. I think the Padres will be a wild card. No, take out the Brewers. Brewers aren't making the playoffs. Phillies are making the playoffs as a wild card team.
They're gonna end the drought.
I think so. They got such a good lineup. Now, granted, their pitching and defense is a little weak, but their lineup is so good.
Also, the White Sox, I think they could make it far,
Yes,
but I'll
White
stick with
Sox.
the Yankees.
White Sox are going to win the Central and the AL. I think this I was just off the top of my head. I want to say the Mariners in the AL West, but I know that the Astros is the smart pick, so I'm going to go with the Astros in the West. In the East, this is one of the funnest divisions. This is literally the AL West or the AFC West of baseball.
Yes, it
the
is.
AL East. Yankees,
Blue
Red
Jays,
Sox,
Yankees.
Blue Jays, and Rays, all contending teams. I'm going to go with the
Crazy.
fun one here. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. I
I'd be
think
fine
they're
with
the
that.
best talent-wise. I think they got the big stars. They got a good manager in Charlie Montoyo. I think they'll win. Now I got to pick 2 wild cards from this division, obviously. At least 2, maybe 3. But I'm going to go with the Mariners. I'll say they'll be a wild card team. No teams from the Central. Even though the Tigers could be interesting this year, I think they got a fun team. I think they'll be competing. They'll be alive for much of the season. They're not going to suck. But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, even though it'll still be a positive year for that team. I'll go with the Red Sox and the Yankees. I think the Rays missed the playoffs.
Good. I hate that stadium.
I hate the stadium too, but I like the Rays. I don't mind them. I hate their ownership, but it might be the worst ownership in all of baseball. But they hate their fans. They hate their team. They hate pretty much everything but money. So for that reason, I'm going to say the Rays missed the playoffs. So they got a lot of good – they'll still be a good team. But, yeah, there's that. Angels missed the playoffs too, obviously, because their pitching is going to suck again. But this might be – Syndergaard had a good outing yesterday, so that could be a good sign for them. The Angels, they had a shutout yesterday, but still not picking them because that wasn't my preseason prediction, so I'm not going to pick the Angels to make the playoffs. And in the World Series, I'll have not the Cardinals, not the Padres. I picked them last year, and that didn't work out. I'll go with the Braves again. I think they'll repeat. I think they got a very similar team this year. And
they repeat in the 90s?
No. They went back to the World Series, but they didn't win like multiple ones in a row.
Okay.
And then in the AL, I will give me the White Sox.
Okay.
Tony La Russa.
I'll let him get behind the wheel.
And then I'll have the White Sox winning it all.
Ugh. I hate Chicago's success.
I don't hate it, but they've had some really bad injuries to start off this year. Really rough start to the year for them, especially on their pitching staff. But I think as much as I'd like to pick the Blue Jays or the Yankees or a team like that to win, they're just going to beat up on each other all year long. And I feel like they're not going to have enough left in the postseason. Although the Blue Jays could definitely make it to the World Series. I like them as well. But I'm going to have Braves versus who did I say? White Sox and White Sox winning. So you have Dodgers, Yankees, and
journalism wet dream.
And Dodgers winning. Dave Roberts guarantee the Dodgers win the World Series this year.
No, Yanks.
No,
You're
wow.
the Yank. It's finally coming home to New York.
Aaron Boone is forgiven after the last few years.
Yep.
All
And
right.
then after that, Judge is going to sign a monster contract after that.
With the Yankees?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And all right, give some NBA predictions here.
I just think it's going to be Bucks Suns again.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about the Suns. I feel like there might be Warriors are falling off hard. I think they might be a first round exit to the Nuggets and Jokic over there.
Oh, by the way, if Bucks fall, and the Grizzlies fall, I'm a big Jokic guy.
I think he's the MVP.
Boobs and all.
Joel Embiid's going to win the MVP because he just won the scoring title today. But Jokic, I'm a big Jokic guy too.
I like Denver because I like visiting Denver. My family lives out in Colorado, so
I visited Denver this year. It was a good city.
Denver.
I actually drove past the Nugget Stadium, so I didn't go in, but
Pepsi
Center, yep, for them and the Avalanche play. But I like them to win the first round over the Warriors. Grizzlies are playing so well. They're so good.
No, they're hot. I think it'll.
The Suns are
Playoff
so
basketball
good.
is
The
different.
Suns are so confident too. Like you see them like dancing before the games and stuff. Like they're just warming up and they're just dancing to the music and they're just having so much fun. And I think that might be the key to win. I'll go with the Suns too. I feel like they're just head and shoulders above every team else in the West.
Who's your East?
That's a tough one. Celtics could be a pick. Obviously, I said the Heat are the 1 seed, but I don't think they're going to win. Bucks, I don't know. I don't think they can repeat. Giannis was so dominant last year. I just don't think that he's going to repeat that. I'll go with the 76ers. No, that's stupid. I want the 76ers to win because I feel bad for their fans.
I don't.
I feel bad for their fans just because they've been through so much pain. And they finally got James Harden, the guard, to match up with Embiid. But I think the Celtics go out of the East. They're hot. They're good. So I got Celtics, Suns, and I think the Suns win.
I'm a Nets hater, but I will say this. If the Nets play the 76ers and Ben Simmons plays in the playoffs, I will cheer for Ben Simmons like no other. That would be incredible if you had like a hell of a series against the 76ers. That's something that I just like hope for. Look forward to.
I just hope for 76ers Nets in the playoffs. Regardless if Ben Simmons plays, it looks like he's going to play, not in the play-in series, but after that, that he's going to play. So he won't be first round because I think it's going to be Heat and Bucks as the 1 and 2 seeds. So, but maybe a second round matchup potentially for that. So that would be fun.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. You want to say hello and kiss a goodbye and wrap up the show?
Yes.
This actually, I didn't think we were going to thought it was going to be a shorter show this week, but it's pretty standard. So
yeah. My say hello and kiss a goodbye. So my say hello, fan fights at the baseball game.
Yes.
I love it. It's a benefit of the long MLB season. So since there's 162 games for 30 teams, lots and lots of opportunities for fan fights at the game. I mean, it's pretty much almost an every night occurrence. You'll see one make it to Twitter, and it is amazing.
And it's 90% of the time in the outfield bleachers.
Yeah, or way up behind like third base or something like that.
Yeah, like in the upper deck or something. Yeah, the bleachers, those people just are wild, and those are the people that are drinking the whole game, and it's usually on like a Friday, Saturday type of thing where they're just there to have a good. They're not there to watch baseball; they're there to have a fun time with their friends, and that's what the bleachers are for.
Sometimes these fan fight videos kind of go dormant, kind of like what our Luke was just saying here. Like it mostly happens on the weekend, but. And they'll go dormant during the week. But sometimes, you'll have one splattered in there as well. And I appreciate that from the fans. So thank you, baseball fans. And then my kiss it goodbye is kissing goodbye to my 4 wisdom teeth, 2 on the top, 2 in the back, or 2 on the bottom, which is also a future tough scene of the week candidate for next week.
Yeah.
Probably. So I'm getting those removed on Thursday at like 8:30 in the morning. So really going to be tough. Probably going to lose like probably almost over under 7 pounds. I'm going to lose during this because you can only eat like yogurt and shit like that.
And
So,
applesauce.
yeah, it's going to be brutal.
But so I think next week we're going to do the podcast on Monday because Sunday's Easter, and also to give Cam an extra day to recover from that, because that does take a toll on your voice because you like can't speak for like 2 days.
Yeah,
Right?
you just
kind of sit there just being like a soul on the earth.
From what I've heard too, you really just don't want to do a thing like at all.
That's like immediately after, like the first couple days afterwards. So if we do it on Monday, you're getting it done on Thursday, right?
Yeah, getting it done Thursday morning. We'll miss Thursday of school. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
So yeah, we got Monday off. So I think that might be the plan next week. So expect maybe a later show.
Yes.
To come out later in the week because, for those reasons. So for those dedicated Show Me Show listeners out there, there's a few of you guys out there. So
thank you.
That's news for you guys. My say hello is rain. April showers bring May flowers. The little hold on to the hope is back, even though April showers tend to just bring May showers. But it's back. It rained a lot last week. Today's actually a nice day.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys got out to enjoy, this nice Sunday weather, but it's supposed to rain pretty much every day this week, and it's just doesn't look fun. It just looks gross and nasty, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So say hello to rain. It's going to be here for a few weeks, and especially this week. And then my other say hello is baseball relievers with weird haircuts. And like, I feel like the bullpen guy is the most random sports player. And like, you'll just have like this one random guy with a sick mustache or beard or hair come out, or even a cool name, and you just never heard of them before, and they're instantly just popular like that.
Yeah.
Especially if they do good. But
yeah.
So those guys, say hello to them.
Yeah, those are just those athletes that are pretty random in high school, like that may join the team like their junior or senior year, because they can
actually really good at it.
They can just like throw the ball hard, and the coach realized it one day, and they're like, you probably should play for us. It's like, okay. And then before you know it, they're relievers in the MLB who don't really, maybe I feel like there's some of them that probably never even watched baseball growing up. They just turned out to be relievers. So
yeah. My other say hello is MLB The Show. It came out this week. Been playing it a lot. And then my kiss it goodbye is, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really have one this week, so I'm just going to go with Cameron Smith's chances of winning the Masters.
Also, kiss goodbye, MLB The Show 2021.
Yes, I kissed that goodbye a long time ago. Although I do have a good road to the show going right now, so I'm not going to start a new one. I'm just going to keep playing 21 and just use 22 for franchise and Diamond Dynasty.
Yeah, I have an unbelievable one going on right now. So with the Blue Jays. So
yep. So my kiss it goodbye, obviously Cameron Smith's chances to win. He was in contention for a while, but he's just fallen. He's shot +3 in like the last 4 holes. He looks pissed. He looks like he's kind of a head case right now. He's like throwing his club everywhere. It looks like me on the golf course. Like when I go golf and I miss a few shots, that's literally what I do. Like, this guy's a pro. He probably shouldn't be doing that. But yeah. So that's it. Scotty Scheffler is a Masters champion. He still got 4 holes left, but I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler has the green jacket.
You know what? Clap it up for Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, clap it up. Congratulations, Scotty Scheffler, first-time Masters champion. He will get the green jacket put on him by Hideki Matsuyama, who won it last year. So
from Japan to the United States.
Oh, he's at -12. Look at that. I even tried my best to jinx him, and it doesn't matter. -12 now. So. Look at that. 3 holes left. It's a lock for him. He's not losing that.
So yeah. Thanks for listening to our show. Hopefully we'll see you around Monday. Maybe Tuesday next week. So yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
Sorry about the YouTube the last few weeks. Over the last 3 weeks, we've only had one YouTube video. So if you're a YouTube listener, we apologize. We had multiple technical difficulties, but we'll hopefully be getting an editing service here soon with this, the ad money, because we're getting a lot of it. Well, not a lot actually of ad money, but enough to pay for like a superior editing service. So hopefully we can get that intact and get out better content for the YouTube. But yeah, so everyone have a great week. Have a great Easter week. Hopefully you enjoy Easter weekend and Easter Sunday with your family. Hopefully you're able to get out with that. And yeah, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.